Islam is the largest religion in Turkey. About 99% of Turks are of the Islamic faith, most of which are Sunnis. Before the constitutional amendment of 1924 and the reforms made by Mustafa Kemal Ataturk, the first president of Turkey, Turkey had an established official religion. Turkey is now officially a secular nation that has a separation between church and state. I'll be taking a closer look at how this predominantly Islamic nation embraces minority religions and native views on Turkish freedom of religion.
Here in Istanbul, Turkey, Islam is the main religion, but contrary to popular assumptions in the Western Hemisphere, this is a secular nation where other cultures and religions are embraced.
Even with Turkey being a predominantly Islamic nation, it isn't hard to find houses of worship of other faiths. I spoke with one Turkish Muslim woman enjoying her tea outside of a Greek Orthodox church on her thoughts on the treatment of those of different minority religions.
As far as I know from my friends, approximately 20-30 years ago, it was much more difficult for them to, how can I say, to follow their own religion. But nowadays everything is so equal. We don't have any discrimination. We are doing everything together. We don't have any problem. Thanks God, let's say.
Before arriving to Turkey, I assumed it was required that women wear a head covering everywhere, and I was fully prepared. Once I arrived to Istanbul, I realized that women had the freedom to wear whatever they desired and that the culture was much more reminiscent of Western society than I projected. I spoke with Newsroom managing editor at CNN Turk about how Turkey's freedom of religion differed from freedom in the United States.
The difference is not just in terms of the freedom of religion, I think, but the level of religiosity. The more religious people are, the more sensitive they become about their beliefs, about their values, and therefore they are also more sensitive about the reporting of these beliefs or these values. Now, obviously, the United States, despite all the talk about religion making a revival, etc., is a less religious country than compared to Turkey. Therefore, people or reporting about religion is much more easier in the States than here. Here the sensitivities are higher. If you want, the fault lines between various religious communities are much deeper. So that maybe represents a difference.
Turkish citizens take pride in the reforms set in place by Ataturk and the freedoms modern secular society have afforded the 74 million people in the country. Separation of church and state and the Turkish secular society gives Turks of minority religions the freedom to worship where and how they please. The vice president of the Turkish Coalition of America spoke to me on how head coverings have been banned in public places to ensure religious fairness.
The only restriction comes to when you are a student, when you go to school, or when you want to work at a state office, you need to uncover. But other than that, you are free to cover. As you know, for example, in France also, they don't accept any religious symbols on the students, neither like a cross or a turban, because it discriminates the people. Like, you're looking at each other in a different perspective by religion. So in order to avoid that, the Turkish Republic in the beginning accepted a secular system, and they wanted to separate religion and state, believing that if you combine religion into state, then it is very difficult to stop or to draw the borders. Then different notions can come to practice because the religious practices should be separate than state.
From beautiful Istanbul, Turkey, this is Charis.